We were pleased to see so many people show up at the recent workshops that AltaLink hosted down in Pincher Creek this past April. We appreciate the time that people took to come and talk to us about the project. We also appreciate the time and effort that folks have spent talking about this project going back to 2009. We thought we'd make this video to share with you, and in the hopes that some of the information would be helpful to you. This project is needed to integrate renewable electricity into the Alberta grid. The interest in renewable generation in this area and across southern Alberta and in central Alberta has been around a long time. And with the new Renewable Electricity Program that the AESO has developed on behalf of the provincial government, we see that interest remains in this area. There was two projects actually, that won contracts in the round one of our program. And so we see the need showing up and continuing, and that's why we're advancing it at this time. But in addition, we have the opportunity to restore the Intertie with BC, between Alberta and BC, to its original rated capability. And there's a benefit to Albertans in additional capacity that will bring between the two provinces as we integrate much more renewable electricity in the future and phase out the coal emissions in Alberta. Southwestern Alberta, southeastern Alberta, Alberta along the border with Saskatchewan is rich with wind and solar resources. We have multiple applications for connections from renewable developers in this area. The interest has been around since more than 10 years, and certainly since this project was approved in 2009. And with the implementation of the Renewable Electricity Program, developers have increased their interest. In fact, winners of the round one, two of the contracts that were allocated were in this area. So we're confident that wind and solar are going to develop. Yeah, there's a couple things there. First of all, interest in renewable electricity is all over. It's global, not just in Alberta. And secondly, the costs of both wind and solar are declining to the point where they are becoming competitive with conventional forms of generation. So with the renewable interest in this area, which has been around for a long time, we can reasonably expect it to continue. And we can also make the effort and live up to it to stage the developments of the transmission along with the renewable electricity developments. Well, as of today, and after the contracts were signed last December with the results of the round one, there's about 150 megawatts of transmission capability left in this area. If we, say starting today and move forward with these projects through the approval processes, they're going to be ready to be in service by about 2022, 2023 timeframe. And we expect that by that time, we will have used up that 150 megawatts capacity and have developers sort of lining up to make use of the capacity that comes on. What we chose to do was to revisit the need that we have approved, and because we've identified a couple of technically viable options, we think it's equal opportunity to connect to either the Castle Rock Ridge substation or to the Goose Lake substation. And so we're building on the information that we have and the study results, and we intend to make an application to the Commission. We did look at the 500 kV option, and there's a couple, or 3 or 4 reasons why we would rule it out. First of all, it has a bigger land impact. 500 kV towers have a bigger impact than some of the 240 kV options that we're looking at. It also limits access to those lines. It's more expensive to connect to a 500 kV line typically than a 240 kV line. It's also costly. In our estimation, that's a more costly solution. As I said earlier, we have an approved need. It's been approved since 2009, but for the reasons of wanting to enhance the solution, we do plan to bring an application to the Commission, and we expect that stakeholders will want to test that. Well, let me first say that it's not at its full capability right now, but we think it's important to bring it back to its full capability, to be a part of the reliability equation in Alberta. Imports benefit Albertans by accessing electric energy from other jurisdictions when we need it, and exports can happen from time to time as well. Both are a good thing. As we move forward and integrate more renewable electricity that's variable, like wind and solar are, and phase out coal emissions, the extra capability that we are restoring will come in handy for us in the future. Our first priority is to Albertans. The Intertie restoration project will restore the import capability. The export capability will remain at its current level. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to listen to these questions, and I'll state again, we value your input. On the slide that follows this interview will be some contact information where you can reach out and communicate with us.